What's up and what's happening, TPE Fam? And we're back with another episode of the Pivot Experience podcast, where we're all about helping leaders pivot into their next. We bring on guests on this show that bring something special to the table, that have leadership experience and expertise. And I have someone here who is looking to become a Chick-fil-A operator. I've had the pleasure of working with this gentleman for the last 8 years. I've done life in and outside of the restaurant with him. And I'm just happy to have him in the studio with us as we continue to talk about his journey and his development and his maturation from the point in which he first started working at Chick-fil-A to now. I'm talking about none other than Roderick Allison. Roderick, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on
Thanks
to
for
the
having
show.
me.
Would you tell the people a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you represent?
What's up, TPE family? My name is Roderick Allison. Born and raised from Beaumont, Texas. Come from a very large family. I'm one of six. I'm the fourth child, but the third boy. And I am married. Have a beautiful wife, Ashley, and a 2-year-old daughter that's currently in the terrible two stage. Definitely a lot of fun, but definitely a lot of headaches as well. But we're grateful to have her, and she's a lot of fun. Currently working on becoming a Chick-fil-A operator. I've been with Chick-fil-A for the past 8 years, and I'm currently working towards the interview process for the leadership development program that will put me in the driver's seat to one day own my own store.
Awesome, man. No, thanks for coming on. I know this may not be your cup of tea. I don't know how many of these. I know you're currently in the process of practicing interviews, and
Yeah,
so, but I don't know how many interviews you've done in this format. And
none.
so, thankful to you for accepting the challenge of coming onto this platform and sharing your story. So, speaking of stories, let's talk about Chick-fil-A is the thing that kind of brought us together
Yeah.
from a friendship standpoint, and Chick-fil-A is the thing that's currently keeping us woven together. And so what is your Chick-fil-A story? How did you start working at Chick-fil-A? What sparked your interest in wanting to stay here?
Yeah, so I started. I was a junior in high school. At the time, I was working at HEB, and one of my high school best friends was working at Chick-fil-A, and he told me that you guys were having open interviews. So I was like, I was 17. I just really wanted to have a good time at work. So I went to open interview. I got the job. Worked through there all my high school career, and as I graduated, went up to SFA for about a year and a half. And about a year and a half, I came back home to work full time. And when I came back to work full time, I was a little bit more bought into the things that you guys were trying to do in the restaurant, and I got promoted. Somewhere around there, I got the opportunity to be a shift lead, and so also around that time, Robert and you guys gave me the opportunity to go to corporate office, and I believe that was in 2019, and that was probably one of the most like pivotal moments in my career. um, like just seeing the brand on such a large scale. And I think a lot of times, in a community, people, see Chick-fil-A as a caring company, but it really is. Like even on the corporate side of things, people really care. And that was the fire that I believe I needed to really like push my Chick-fil-A career forward. And I think that's at the moment I knew I wanted to do Chick-fil-A long term. And I came back to Beaumont really on fire, and I was still a shift lead, and I was really, really invested into the things, and I got the opportunity to be the training director. So I served in that capacity for about a year, and then another opportunity to be came a vacancy came up in the operations director, and I interviewed for that, and I was grateful to get that position. That's currently where I'm serving now. I've been doing that for the past 2 years, and currently where I'm in my stage in my career, I feel a urge and an unction to kind of do more, and not only for myself but for my family. So I believe the next step is pursuing this thing full time as a career on the corporate side of things, whether that's being an operator or working at the corporate office in Atlanta.
Awesome, man. So that trip to Atlanta, to see the home office, to see really like the inner workings of
Yeah,
what Chick-fil-A is, because I think typically when you think about Chick-fil-A now, of course, with the experience that I have, the experience you have, we know it's much larger than just a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
But on the surface, most people see it as just a fast food restaurant. You know, you pass up and down it; it's right in line with all the other businesses, and it doesn't feel like anything special. What would you say is one thing that really jumped off the page for you? And I'm sorry, this is off the script,
Yeah.
but what jumped off the page for you when you went to the home office? Like, what's one thing that you remember the most about your experience at the home office?
So I think two things. I remember me, Robert, and the other team members were walking off the elevator, and then Kathy came around the corner, which is our CEO, and he said, "Hey, Robert, how'd your two stores in Beaumont or in Texas rather?" And I was like, "Wow." Like, I mean, I think at the time in 2019, we probably had close to 2,500 stores. I mean, and for our CEO to know our operator by name, that was just huge to me. And I mean, I think that just goes, to show like that there's a extended level of care, rather than just, knowing somebody as a number or just like an employee. Like there's actually like relationship value there.
Like I have to echo that sentiment because that's kind of crazy. That's the exact same thing that happened to me in like 2008. I went
Wow.
to the home
Wow.
office, and it was for they used to have this thing called Team Leader Summit way back in the day, and we were in an auditorium, and I walked up to Dan Cathy, and I was like, you see Dan, you want to
Yeah.
shake his hand,
Yeah.
and so I walked up to Dan Cathy, and he looked at my name tag, and it said all it said was it had my name on it, and it said Dowling Road, and he said, "Oh, you work for Robert."
Wow.
That was crazy. It was like, and I was like, of all the operators, all the other people, once you're there, you see all the leaders, you see all the support staff, you see all
Yeah.
these all the stuff that goes on. And then at the time, Dan was doing the keynotes. He was on stage. He was delivering what Andrew is doing in terms of kind of steering the ship. He was steering the ship, and
Yeah.
to be able to, so I would say that was a shocker to me too, to know that hey, he cares so much about the people that he know him by name,
By
and
name.
and it's not like a
No, it wasn't like
it
a.
wasn't like a
Yeah.
what's no. It was like no, you work for Robert straight up. So I think that was pretty remarkable. He said two things. That was the
And
one,
then
or
the other thing was, I met one of my favorite motivational speakers, Inky Johnson. Like he was a keynote speaker for that Monday motivational, and I got to meet him and kind of got to hang with him, and that was just like cool, just to experience that. Like I had no clue like what I was getting into. I thought I was just going to the office, but I got to like meet like high caliber people that day.
awesome. So you already kind of answered a bit of this question for me already about the why. You want to become a Chick-fil-A operator or a corporate a support center staffer. What do you think your life is going to be like as an operator? Like, had you thought about, okay, if I'm an operator, what are you looking to do? What type of impact are you looking to drive?
I think just to piggyback on like my current operators, like his success, like he's done a really good job of like providing resources for the people that work for him, not only from a financial standpoint, but even like in the area of like mental health and just for like around school time. We're giving school supplies to the kids and for families like that. Just I want to be in a position to be able to provide that for people and to help people, and I think that's one of like the things that I'm looking forward to, and if I get the opportunity to be an operator, and also just additionally like Chick-fil-A's push for diversity is one thing that has kind of been drawing me into be in the space of an operator. I recently got the opportunity to go to Canada, and the climate in Canada is like very diverse, and to see that Chick-fil-A is really trying to push business in that space is encouraging to me, being an African American male.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about a few things before we actually started recording. I would say the Chick-fil-A today is much different in
Yeah,
terms of what Chick-fil-A was 15, 20 years ago when I first started. And I will say I think they're doing a great job of trying to, create diversity in multiple capacities
yeah,
for, different ethnicities, different genders, just all across the board, kind of making the opportunity to have ownership more equal and more available to more people. So that's awesome. How has your personal growth contributed to your current success, like in the restaurant and outside the restaurant?
I think I think I can contribute two things to my restaurant success, like personal development. I think one thing is this: recently I've got really consistent in the area of like taking care of myself from my health and wellness standpoint. So during the week, I'm a very strict diet and I'm a very routine in the gym. And I think me being able to be consistent in that area has made translate to my success in the restaurant. Like I'm able to be consistent in the outside of my life, and it just rolls over into my professional career. And then as of lately, I recently hired a leadership coach through our service that you guys through TPE, and being able to talk to somebody that's not currently in the restaurant about issues that's going on and kind of helping me talk and think through those things has just been really encouraging to me. And I think as a leader, it's really important for you to kind of really always take a look in the mirror and seeing where your strengths and your weaknesses are, and just I guess coming, what's the word I'm looking for,
Aware, I think.
coming aware of those issues and those, not issues but opportunities in your performance. So I think that's two things that I've contributed to my restaurant success.
Okay, so what would you say? I mean, just based on the things you just said, what would you say are some of the strengths and weaknesses that you've come to the realization of? Like, what is one thing that you think that you do very well, and what is one thing that you think that you can improve in?
I think one of my biggest strengths is that I'm a very relational person. So my ability to like build relationships, especially in like in a workplace, my ability to like create relationships and like bring the team around, galvanize the team to like push them towards results and goals. Like that's a really good strength of mine, and believe I've had a lot of success in that area. I think, as far as one of my opportunities is, um, I could be a better communicator. I think transparently, communication has scared me, because I've always been scared of how I may come off to people. Um, and additionally, since I was a kid, I've suffered with a stutter. So talking is sometimes uncomfortable for me. But I think, like anything, you just have to practice at it. You have to work at it. So I think that's currently one thing that I'm working on as I prepare for the set of interviews for LDP is practice talking, whether that's at work or at home, even with my wife and my kids. Just practice being a better communicator. I think communication is universal. So regardless, you workplace, you're communicating with your family, your friends, like you have to be able to communicate. So that's just currently one of my strength and weaknesses.
No, and I think it's it's commendable for you to be able to just not only be aware of what those strengths and weaknesses are, but being willing to communicate those things and being willing to say those things out loud. A lot of times we hide behind we hide what we're not good at.
Yeah.
We'll put our strengths on Front Street. Right? We'll say, hey, I'm really good at this, but when it comes down to something that we're not, the best at, we tend to not want to own those things. And so it's cool to hear that you want to do that. So if we stripped Chick-fil-A away entirely, if there's no Chick-fil-A, what's left of Roderick?
I would say I'm a husband and a dad. I think they're the why. Like they're the reason why I'm pushing towards being an operator. Towards pushing my career. And I think I remember, and I was you sent me the question. And this was one thing I remember looking at this question, and I remember when me and my wife had Zoe, and like the chat was our group chat was going crazy one day, and I was responding, and you sent me a message, and you said, "Put the phone down. Chick-fil-A can wait. Be with your family." And I think for the longest, I've tried to hide my identity in being a Chick-fil-A worker, and I think it's important for me to be at the beginning, before anything. I'm a husband and I'm a dad. Like those are my priorities. So ship everything away. I'm still a husband and I'm still a father.
Yeah, and I think that was very well put. I feel like sometimes working at Chick-fil-A is a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Transparently, like I think it's particularly when you get to this level. Like you know what the brand is. You've been to corporate. You've done grand openings, and you want to hold yourself to a standard, which is nothing wrong with that, right? But I think sometimes you get so caught up in the standard that you forget that you are still you. Like I had to realize that. I mean, it took me a while to like I can just be me still. Like I'm Alex first. You know what I mean? Like I don't and then I work at Chick-fil-A because I'm replaceable. I can, if I quit today or if I'm unable to go to work today, Chick-fil-A is still going to move forward. So
Yeah.
I've still got to have my own identity and who I am and what I bring to the table. Now, we do have our responsibilities, not to say that we just completely just wild out and disregard what the
Yeah.
brand is and what it represents,
Yeah.
but I think there has to be some balance. And I think sometimes Chick-fil-A kind of, they don't directly do this, and then there's nowhere written where it says it has to be, but you can get out of balance really quickly
Yeah.
if you're not careful with how you go about handling yourself and moving around. So it's good to know that you've had that perspective. Now, I want to go back to something you said. You said you had some coaching, right? And you felt like that coaching is helping you. Can you kind of talk a little bit more about what your experience has been since you've been coaching? What is your mindset was before you started coaching? What is your mindset now that you're going through some ongoing coaching with TPE?
Yeah. So, um, transparently, I knew it. I knew I needed help, right? Especially like going through the LDB process, like the interviews, like is really really rigorous, and they make it for a reason. They do it for a reason. And um, looking back at when I first started coaching, well, first started with coaching with TPE, like I couldn't even communicate, my story and my why, you know, and 3 to 4 months in, I'm on a podcast, like having good conversations, holding a conversation, and I feel really confident in this space. So I think just the like getting an outside source to help me, like I've seen the fruit from it. I've seen the fruit from it.
And I think I just a lot of times you can resent the process of coaching because you think you know it or you at
Yeah.
least have access to the information. But to your point, it's nothing like being able to either hear it or be able to talk to somebody who doesn't have any skin in the
Yeah.
game when it comes. Like the only time you're going to really interact with that individual is during the time in
Yeah.
which you're scheduled to hang out with them. And so being able to talk through somebody, and I think the thing, this is a shameless plug. What camera we at right there? This is just me talking through it. I think the fact that our coaches here at TPE are in the restaurant still, they're still dealing with real
Yeah.
life things, and they're not speaking to you from this place of like, oh, I'm not really sure what you are going through.
Yeah.
Like your coach,
They know exactly
that
what's
your
going.
coach knows what you're going through on a day-to-day basis because have lived it and are living it. and
Yeah.
so and so I definitely think anybody who decides to take on any level of coaching, whether it be with TPE or not, there's benefit in having someone to talk to that's has the experience to be able to help you get to that next level. So definitely awesome. So last question. We're coming around the corner here, doing good on time too. Uh, who are you as a leader, and what will you be known for?
I like to call myself, like, in my mind, like, that energizer bunny. Like, I feel like on a consistent basis, like I come into work and I bring that energy that I feel like the people need. Whether somebody's having a bad day or they just need to pick me up. Like I feel like I'm that person. Like I come with it every day, and I think that's what I want to be known for, and I want to be known for like a leader that cares. I think in our business, like everything is so fast paced, and sometimes it's hard to slow down and have conversation and um, to check on people. But I think the really good leaders, like they make it a point to stop and connect with people, and that's just one thing I want to be known for, rather.
Okay. How do you think that's going to translate into you being an operator? Like that's you currently as the
Yeah.
DO, and I'm sorry, this just kind
Yeah.
of this is you as the DO, but how does that energy translate into having that larger responsibility?
That's a good question. I really haven't thought about it at that larger scale. Um, I think an easy answer would just to say I would like it just to transfer. But I know being an operator, it comes with a lot of responsibility, and I know I would be stretched at a larger capacity. But I think I still need to have that. I still need to be the same person. But I think it's going to be really important for me when I become an operator to build a good team around me that can make decisions not in the best interest of myself as an operator, but the best interest of the people. Because I mean, without people, you really can't do anything. So Hope I answered that question well enough.
No, you did. I think that if I'm not mistaken, Truett said we're not in the chicken business, but we're in the people business. And so, if you continue, in my opinion, if you continue to prioritize putting people first, prioritize picking good people, and then surrounding yourself around the with the right people, I think you're going to be successful as an operator. So, I want to say first of all, thank you for
Thank you.
coming on to the podcast. Hopefully, this is giving you a platform to be able to articulate your story, to be able to articulate who you are. And before we officially wrap up, where can people find you, or is there any like parting words? Well, two things: parting words, and then where can they find you if they wanted to follow you? Because we really didn't jump into, and I'm gonna say this just off the cuff here. We really didn't. We kind of breezed over this whole like in the gym eating clean thing. We really didn't talk about the
Yeah.
journey. We really didn't talk about like I've again I've worked with Roderick for 8 years, so I
Yeah.
know what it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago to what you see now. It's almost a completely different person. And
Yeah.
so, if you want to track that journey and really see what he's been up to, what can they find you, and then what any final words you might have.
I'm on LinkedIn at Roderick Allison, Roderick, Allison, Allison. And then on Instagram, I'm Roderick Allison, no spaces, and then 4 underscores after my name. I guess my last words would be, um, in the beginning, like starting anything of any process is extremely hard. But I think one thing that you've said, and I think I've heard a lot of people say, is just like you establish a habit and you get a win one day. You just stack those on top of each other, and then you'll be weeks, months in, and you'll see yourself on the other side of it. So don't be discouraged in the beginning. Like, it's going to be hard. I think anything that's worthwhile, it comes with, it's trials and tribulations, but you know just stay the course.
For sure, for sure. Well, there you have it, TPE family. Hopefully, you guys heard something on today's episode that encourage you, motivate you, inspire you to be a better version of yourself. It's not about it's not about competing. No one's in competition with each other. It's all about getting better each and every day, being a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday, and then hopefully being even better tomorrow. And so, thank you again so much,
Thank
Roger,
you.
for coming on to the episode. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully you've enjoyed the dialogue that we've had today. And until next time, TPE family, peace.
Take